Welcome everybody. It is time. So, welcome to the stream, Steampunker, Mr. Cheese, Sergeant Ranger, or Saint Ranger, one of those two. Welcome, Polygon. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Welcome, Anj Kumar. Welcome, Dems. Welcome to the stream, everybody. It's my favorite silly, also my favorite silly. Hope you all are doing well. Just a quick recap what we're actually going to be doing today. First of all, this is just a chill stream, completely spur of the moment. The VOD will be available afterwards if you can't make the whole thing, so don't worry about it. But, I'm sorry, I just bumped the mic so bad. What we're gonna do today is make this 3D, or at least part of it. Because this is actually what we made last stream, was this turnaround drawing. You can see right here, it looks pretty good. Not too bad, but it was a little rough and I need to kind of polish it up, clean things up a bit, and just make it look a little bit more refined for my actual final modeling project here, because I really want a very clear goal of what I want this 3D model to look like in 2D before I actually make it 3D. So this is what we made last stream, and off stream I put this together. Oh, that's not a very good comparison. There we go. I made this, which is the exact same thing, but a lot more polished, a lot more refined. Just gives us a much clearer goal of what I want her hair highlights to look like, how I want things to be shaded here, what the side view would look like, the back view, how that stuff's going to be textured, you know, all that stuff, right? So that's kind of what I worked on off stream today, or excuse me, not today, a few days ago. But today, we're going to start completely from scratch because I think this is going to be useful for people. This is literally the scene we're going to start with, and by the end of the stream, we're going to have at least some of her 3D. I don't know how much yet. I guess we'll find out. But thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Before we get started, obligatory reminder that I'm probably going to do at a lot of streams here because it's very exciting, is that we very recently hit well over 1,000 sales on my low poly character modeling course, which is linked in the description below. This is the perfect time to jump into it if you're interested, because the price increases on the 31st of August. We have 41 perfect 5-star ratings. If you are interested in what this course is like, oh, we have you in the chat today. Hell yeah. So we already have some people who already bought the course in the chat today. That's awesome. This is a great jumping in point if you want to learn 3D modeling. Much less intimidating than what we're about to do today, which is like full on, you know, anime style character modeling like this. This is a much better way to get your feet wet. So if you're interested, by all means, check that link in the description below, because now is the best time to buy to get the best possible value on it. So, and we have regional pricing as well. If you're in a non-US country, this should be price matched accordingly, depending on the value of the currency there, which is really nice. And I've heard really good feedback about that, which is awesome. So without further ado, it is Teto time. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is actually get this out of Photoshop, right? Because I made this drawing in Photoshop, but now I actually need this in 3D, right? Or excuse me, in 2D, so I can import it into Blender as my reference for when I'm 3D modeling. So to do that, I'm gonna double check that this is actually what I want it to be. So I'm not showing random people all the files on my hard drive. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So, let's switch back. So this is the exported file. Now I just want to import this into Blender, and to do that, this is the newest version of Blender, by the way. This is just from Steam. Not the newest, but it's like the newest release version, the public version, right? The stable version. So now I actually want to get this in my scene, right? And if some of you have watched my low poly character modeling tutorials, you might know how this typically goes, but I literally just want to go to the front orthographic view, which I can do by clicking up here, and I know this is the front orthographic view by, I'm actually going to adjust my Blender window here so we can actually see what I'm talking about here, my mistake. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So, we want to go to the front orthographic view, which we can do by like mousing over here and holding Alt. Do I have screencast keys? I think I do. That would be very helpful for everyone. Let's double check. I think I have that add-on. Screencast keys. Probably an extension. Screencast. There we go. Let's actually install that so people can see the buttons I'm pressing. There we go. There it is. Now when I press these buttons, I don't have to say them as loud, and I'll make this way bigger. There we go. I'll make this even bigger as a matter of fact. I'll do a shadow. Now that background's super ugly. There. Yeah, that's fine. And I'll even make the mouse size bigger. So that's very, very readable for everyone. Sweet. All right, let me catch on chat before we actually get up to this. Let me the retro Astro Bunny from the low poly art. Oh, Astro Boy from the low poly art challenge. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Welcome, welcome. Welcome everybody. All right, so if y'all are just joining, we are going to be, today on stream, we're gonna be trying to make, or at least start making, this Birdbrain Teto turnaround I made. We're gonna start making this 3D, and we're literally starting from complete scratch. And I think that's important to start from complete scratch because I really don't like a lot of the default Blender settings for what I like to do. First and foremost, I'm gonna go to the render properties and make sure I'm on Eevee because I don't want to use cycles or Workbench for that matter for any of this. Then I'm gonna go down to color management here, which is actually gonna be clicked off because of Retsune here. But just so that's what I'm talking about. We couldn't see that previously. We're gonna set my view transform to standard because I want my textures to be 1-to-1 with what I've made in Photoshop. And if I do Filmic, I'll actually show you all what that looks like actually. So, but first we have to actually import this turnaround drawing we made. And this is how I start all my 3D models. I'll make a turnaround drawing, then I'll actually move into 3D. So now that I'm in Blender's front view, I'm gonna press Shift+A, Image, Reference. Now I'm going to go to this folder right here, which is literally the one I was on, Lamau. Then I'm going to double click this reference that I've already made. Do I want the transparent? I'll do the transparent one. I'll be a little bit nicer. And remember people, this is a YouTube VOD, so if you ever want to reference what I'm talking about today, after the stream is over, you can review this at any point. I'll leave it up publicly, so you can review this at any point if you want to review anything we talk about today. So now that this imported properly in our scene, we kind of just want to line it up. We're going to do that classic Blender tutorial thing where we delete the cube, which I'm sure we're going to spawn back in like 2 seconds. But now I want to make sure this is the correct scale because when we model a character, especially a human character, we of course want to make sure that they are human-sized. And the quickest way that I like to do that is going to Shift+A to the spawn menu armature. And let me move my Blender UI a little bit like this. We're not going to need to see that half of it much at all normally. So then I'm going to press Shift+A, Armature, Rigify Meta-Rigs. Then I'm going to go to Basic Human. And luckily for us, this is pretty close. I'm just going to kind of scooch this a little bit. That's not too far off. I'm just going to... You could do some, actually, I'll make our lives a little bit easier by changing the transform pivot point to the 3D cursor. So we're scaling from this point rather than the default, which is like the center of this turnaround, which is really annoying. So I'm gonna scale this turnaround down. So it's just kind of roughly lines up with our human shape, right? Our Rigify skeleton, which I believe is like roughly, I don't know, 6 feet-ish tall. That's in freedom meters. I don't know what that is in actual meters. I think if the default cube is like what, 1 meter tall. It says somewhere, but yeah, it's human scale, right? I don't know exactly what it is, but it doesn't need to be exact anyway. This is close enough. We just want to make sure that when we're modeling something or rigging something, it's not like hugely out of scale, right? Because you can always scale something slightly later, but if you modeled something like the size of an ant, and then you model something else and it's like the size of a building, it's just going to be a pain in the butt later on. So I don't even need this right now. anymore because I just needed this for scale reference. I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to scooch this forward. And now I want my side view reference. So I'm going to push Shift plus D to duplicate this turnaround reference. Then I'm going to scooch it forward, rotate it like this. So I just press Shift plus D to rotate it. Then press G plus Y to lock it to the Y-axis to move it just forward on the Y-axis. Then I press R to rotate. Then Z to lock my rotation on the Z-axis, and I press 90 right here. This mouse icon is kind of blocking this, but this is just the rotation menu where you can set exact increments for your rotations right here. Then I'm going to scooch this over, go to my right orthographic view, and put this in the side, like that. And this is just for reference, remember. This is only for our references. In fact, can I show you why we want to use standard? Not here, unfortunately. I could show that later on, though. So, let me catch up on the chat, though. The Teto turnaround looks so good. Thank you, Sylvie. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hello, Baps. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Artisan. How often do you plan on streaming? That is a fantastic question, Umbrella. Welcome, welcome. I don't know. I love streaming. It's great. They always go super well. I always enjoy it. So I should do it more, honestly. It's good for everyone. It's good for me. It's good for the community. It's good for everybody. I just need to do it more often and maybe like have a schedule. Ideally, I'm streaming like once a week. But especially for a project like this, I think it's really fun for people to join my journey as I'm making these things, because for those who don't know, I've made low poly models up to this point, but I'm slowly learning how to do anime style characters because I'm going to be making an anime style character modeling tutorial, just my low poly character modeling tutorial, and I'm really excited about it. It's very ambitious, but very exciting project. A lot more of an intermediate tutorial than the low poly one, which is a little bit more beginner. But very exciting tutorial that I'm really excited to jump into, but I just need to make, a few characters in that art style. I'm gonna turn that down, holy cow. I need to make a few characters in this art style before I can, confidently teach other people to do it. So that's kind of my plan here. And if I can document this process and live stream it, all the better, right? That's amazing. In fact, I should record this live stream, silly. Sorry, I should have been doing that from the beginning. I can't download the file on YouTube. It just won't be as good a quality. But yeah, now that we have these turnaround drawings in place, now is the fun part, which is actually 3D modeling, right? And there's a lot of ways you can go about this, but for me, I'm going to use the annotation tool. I feel like that would be helpful. Let's not draw on my tablet with like this Pilot G2 pen. I almost picked it up. But yeah, so the way I like to think about these models is by doing things in chunks, because it makes my life when 3D modeling so much easier. So, for example, this part of Teto right here for shorts, that will be one part of the model. And in fact, because these are perfectly symmetrical, we only need to worry about modeling like this half, right? We only need to 3D model that half, and all these little details, like this part of her shorts or the pockets, we could model those in 3D if we wanted to, but we could also just have those on the texture. So either of those works, and I like to think about all parts of the model in chunks. So that's one chunk, right? The shorts. But then I'm going to also have another chunk just for the legs right here. So this will be another just like chunk of the model. And we want to break it down to as many parts as possible like this, just to save us headaches. And it's really important to think about what's going to get mirrored to the other side, right? So obviously with the legs, these are perfectly symmetrical, meaning that when I put a mirror modifier, when I'm done modeling this left leg, it'll perfectly mirror to the other side, meaning it saves us, I don't know, 50% of the time it would require to model that, because it's, perfectly mirrored to the other side. So we always really do want to think about what can and cannot be mirrored on your model. Same with the shoes. I'm just going to model half of these shoes and then use the mirror modifier in Blender, and it'll automatically mirror to the other side. That is not applicable for every part of this model. The most obvious example, I think, being this shirt, right? Like, this has a tie on it that is asymmetrical. This is not symmetrical, right? So we can't mirror this, but we can still think of this in like one big chunk where we'll have this part of the shirt. You know, we'll model this. I personally will actually probably model this symmetrically, then apply my mirror modifier, and then just edit this part down here to be asymmetrical towards the end of the process. And I just like to do that in order to save myself a lot of time in the modeling process, so I don't have to, you know, even though this part is asymmetrical, right? All of this is symmetrical. So you may as well start modeling this symmetrically, get all that in place, then apply your mirror modifier, and then just model the asymmetrical part after the fact. At least that's how I like to do it, personally. So yeah, the shirt is going to be another part of the model. Again, just like to think about these things in chunks, makes our lives easier. Obviously, the arms are also going to get mirrored, so those are modeled symmetrically, which is great because anyone who's modeled a hand before knows they would rather not do that twice. That's going to be one of the most tricky parts, actually, in this entire model, is modeling the hand, making sure that can deform cleanly. Then, of course, there's the final parts of the model here, which is the neck here, which might be part of the head. It might not be, depending on how lazy you want to be. you can do both. And then this entire head is going to be its own part of the model. We're not going to keep the head and the hair as the same part of the model. That would be way too confusing. We'll probably have these ears attached to the head directly as well. So that will be, you know, one part of the model. And things like so for the eyes, it's a little different because you can actually just have the eyes textured on, like I've done with basically all of my low poly stuff. I could do that, and I might do that to keep things simple, but I could also do this with geometry. So I could have, like, I don't know, let's do an example. So if this was 3D geometry, it would look something like this, where it would actually be 3D geometry rather than just a painted on texture. So you could do something like that, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of anime style models do that kind of thing. So yeah, this could be geometry. It'd be triangles in this case, which you don't necessarily need. But for my cases here, I probably will have triangles on this model because I don't really care. It's not going to really cause me any issues, really. So I'm not too worried about that, but for your case, you might. So yeah, if I do 3D geometry for her eyelashes, it would look something like this, where it's like this kind of topology. It's pretty crappy example. But I think you get the point. You could do this with 3D geometry, which would be nice because for things like blend shapes, which means like the character blinking, you could actually have this very smoothly transition into a blink. Whereas with a character's face texture, you'd have to have like a ton of different like frames to animate between, and it'd be kind of annoying and not really as nice of a system. Plus, if it's geometry, you can like zoom in infinitely and not have things get blurry like they kind of are here. So there's upsides and downsides to all this stuff. You can do whatever you want, honestly. There's great examples of anime models that do both. But yeah, so that's all the different parts of the model I'm gonna have to model here. And there's also, of course, the hair. Now, if you struggle modeling hair, I don't care if it's high poly or low poly, I would highly recommend you check out a video I made on my channel, this very channel recently, called, what did I call it? This one, how to 3D model and texture low poly hair. Definitely go check that out if you struggle with modeling hair at all, because it's, I don't know, I think it's my best tutorial so far. I'm really proud of it, and I think it's just, it's a lot of what we're talking about right now, where you kind of just want to simplify models into as many chunks as possible in order to simplify the modeling process, and think about things in a very like chunked way where you're not getting overwhelmed because everything is just one little tiny part of a much larger whole. And it same goes for hair here, right? This is going to be a bunch of different pieces, and I'm trying to think of that as I'm drawing this hair in the turnaround drawing, where it's like, okay, this is going to be one part, it's going to be another part. They're going to be laying on top of the base mesh of the face here, and I am probably going to model the actual entire face, and then just put the hair on top of it. I'm actually undecided. I think last stream I said I was going to do like an entire base mesh for this character. I'm undecided if I'm still going to do that, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm planning with Teto here. We're going to break her down into as many different pieces as we can and just model each one by one. But let me actually catch up on chats. Because I get so distracted. Can't watch this at work, so I'll watch it fully later. Absolutely, Rabluna. Remember, people, this is going to have a VOD, so if you can't make the whole thing right now, that is okay. We will have a VOD that you can watch later on. But if you want questions answered or stuff, obviously now is the perfect time to put them in the chat. Oh, hey, Final Kill Cam, man. How's it going? How's it going? 6 feet is like 1.8 meters. Yeah, I do think the Blender Cube is 1 meter tall by default, if anyone thinks that's helpful for scale reference whenever you're making stuff in 3D. I always learn something new in your streams. That's awesome, Dems. Heck yeah. Mind if we talk about stream stuff later today? Absolutely. Absolutely, Umbrella. Whenever you'd like. Always super down to chat. Garth Artisan says, how was it making the video for In Too Deep by the battle tapes? Or for the battle tapes? That is a fantastic question. I could make 3 entire videos about that exact topic. So, to answer your question, first of all, for people who don't know, I was responsible for directing this video for the battle types. It's a music video called In Too Deep. Go check it out if you haven't. I'm very proud of it still to this day. Everyone on the team did a great job. Seriously. So where is it? The credits here. Everyone on this team deserves a huge shout out for their contributions. It's just amazing work by everyone. I was responsible for directing, leading things and making sure that things were rendered out and all that stuff, and the lighting and compositions for most shots, but everyone on that team was so instrumentally helpful. But how was that actual process? That was, oh my god. So that was basically my second Blender animation project ever, making a 3-minute long music video. And I would not recommend that to my worst enemy. It was incredibly hard to... It was overwhelming. That's how I'd put it into one word. It was very overwhelming to try to learn how to do all that stuff. It was fulfilling and gratifying, and it was a great learning experience, but it's kind of trial by fire learning experience where it's like, oh boy, I get to make a music video for like one of my favorite artists of all time. No pressure. So it was very stressful, but also very rewarding, and I had great help from everyone who was helping me animate that project or do 3 character models and all that stuff. Everyone on that project was really talented. So that's how I would answer that question. Battle tapes are amazing. Josh Borgman's awesome. I was just talking to him like a week ago. Got some amazing stuff that they're working on, and I'm just so excited about the future battle type stuff and all the stuff they've already made. And I'm very grateful that they're able to give me that position on that project. They definitely took a huge risk, and I really appreciate that for sure. And I think it paid off. People seem to like the music video, which makes me super happy. It's over 1 million views now, which is crazy. That makes me super happy because I just want more people to know about the battle tapes. They are one of my favorite artists of all time. They're such an incredible. They have an amazing sound that no one else has anything close to. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, but also very stressful. and not how I'd recommend someone learns Blender or animation. I think the pockets is just part of the texture would look really cute. It could look cute. It could. There's a model I'm using for reference. Let me see if I can pull it up. I might not be able to. Let's see. I might have it. Here we go. So I think I need to asterisk this by saying this is not great topology. This is like a game model, right? This is not fantastic topology. Don't look at this as like the best reference because this is just a game model export, no less. But this is from Hyperdimension Neptunia, this model. And this is actually the same 3D model. I'm gonna hide some of these because it looks really fucking weird. Really hecking weird. PG streamer, PG. But there's some very interesting things about this model. So this is actually the same model I used for Love Chan in my Love Taste music video. And it's fun referencing this model because they do some really, really weird stuff. I'm not saying this is the right way to do these things. In fact, it's probably not. But check out like how they do this stuff. Because in traditional 3D modeling, like if you have a pocket on shorts here, you'd be like, okay, I need to make some loop cuts here. Then I'll extrude it from the shorts, you know, things like that, or have the topology really match this. But this is just like slapped on. If we go to the, the solid view, this is not connected to the topology directly at all. They just like slapped on this part of the texture to make it look more 3D, or excuse me, the model to make it more 3D. And all these shadows under the belt here and around this part of the shorts, those are just textured on. Those are painted by hand, all of that. That is not real shading detail at all. I might have scene lights on, but yeah, no. Even with the scene lights off, all those shadows are hand painted, which, again, not saying that's the right way to do this. This is a very jank game model export. This is not to be referenced super heavily, but isn't that interesting? Look at what happens when I turn this off. There's just a giant shadow that they hand painted in that texture for texture detail. So it's just cool. It's just really cool. It's also cool how this is like paper thin, but they like, I think they just duplicated the faces here and then just perfectly inverted them to the other side so that you could see it for both sides. So you don't have like backface culling issues. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. And I'm working on a video right now. If you don't know what like face orientation or normals or anything like that is, I'm working on a video that goes into those kind of topics in depth that I'm really, really excited about. That will release hopefully sometime within the next week or two here. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I've gotten distracted yet again. The hands and the thighs are the most annoying to get right. Interesting. I wouldn't think the thighs would be too hard to model, honestly, especially compared to the hands, but I have not done high poly like that yet, so we'll see, we'll see. Is there a reason why I never see low poly models with pants? See your models with skirts or shorts? I don't think there is a reason for that, actually, at all. You could absolutely make a low poly model with pants. I just think if you have like like a skirt or shorts or something similar like that on a low poly model, just like just shape language just works really well. But you could absolutely have low poly pants. Absolutely, there's no reason for it. You couldn't, for sure. How do you manage to make such a good texture? I always fail at that part. That is a great question, Merlio. I think if you want to make a good texture, you are greatly assisted. How do I get rid of annotations? I don't even remember. I could just hide them. That's one way of doing it. If you want a really good texture on your model, you really want to just... I think it helps me at least to do what we're looking at right now, where you make a turnaround drawing. And for my textures, I'll pull this up right now, actually. It's a good idea. Just so we can briefly talk about this. So, take Ratsune, for example, here. this is my front view turnaround drawing for my Ratsune model I made, right? Now, let's go to Photoshop and look at Ratsune's body texture. There are certain things that are just copied from this turnaround drawing, right? Like I'll make this turnaround drawing, I'll spend many hours on it to make it look as appealing and good as I can. Then, when I'm making my body texture, I believe this is like a 1024 texture by 1024 pixels. Let me double check that. Or maybe it's 2K. I might have done it 2K for Ratsune. I don't remember. Yeah, no, this texture we're looking at right now is actually just 1024 by 1024. And I'm literally just taking different pieces of this front view and I'm just copying and pasting them into a new 1024 by 1024 texture I'll create in Photoshop, though obviously you can use any painting software you like. You do not need to use Photoshop. So for example, I'll literally just make a selection using the Polygon lasso tool, and I'll just be like, I want the hair highlights in my body texture. So I'll make this selection, I'll press Control plus C, then I'll go to my texture, Control plus V, and I literally just paste these things in, resize them, then get them in 3D as fast as I can. So basically, I'll take a bunch of stuff from my turnaround drawing, paste it into my body texture, then look at how they are in 3D. And because these are perfectly orthographic turnaround drawings, and the way I project my textures in low poly models is always by using let's actually get a, that's fun, the cube we just deleted, that's classic. I always, or 90% of the time when I'm low poly modeling, I'll just do the U project from view option for the UV unwrapping, because that's just literally projecting from the orthographic perspective of my camera. And I'll just do that over and over again until I have a bunch of stuff in my texture map. Then I'll go back to my 3D model and do the project from view option on different parts of my model, like the hair, the body, the face, all that stuff over and over again. So I'll do that, and over time, you'll get everything like exactly the same as your turnaround drawing. And I constantly, as I'm UV unwrapping, as a matter of fact, I'll have my turnaround drawing literally, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. I'll go to the image editor. I will literally have my turnaround drawing as reference at the bottom right of my Blender here, which you cannot see super well, so I'll hide this like that. So I'll literally have my turnaround drawing at the bottom right of Blender here, just so I can reference it constantly and make sure it's as accurate to my 3D model as possible. And just because I'm taking different parts of my turnaround drawing and putting them into my body texture, don't assume that's going to save you too much time. It's like 10% of the work is getting everything in place, and 90% of that work is, okay, I have my texture applied to my model and it sucks. Like the face has a bunch of lines in it that don't make any sense, or the hair shading isn't right, or I applied UV projected my ear texture onto my character, but there's like bleeding pixels all around it. Like most of the work into getting your texture to look good is just going to be cleaning it up, refining your shading, improving things. For example, Ratsune here has these cheese clips in their hair. And when I first wanted to get this into my texture, I just copied and pasted this from my turnaround. So I put Control C, then I Control V'd it into my body texture here. But this looks terrible, right? Like this would not hold up in 3D at all. So I had to completely from scratch make this shaded and non-shaded version of it for their cheese clips in the 3D model. And now they look really good in 3D. They hold up really well. So that's kind of rambly, but that's kind of my process for how I get these things to look good in 3D, is that I take my turnaround drawing and spend a lot of time in making it look good, and then I work on my texture sheet and refine it over many, many hours. You have to be patient during that part of the process because it is the most time-consuming part by far. But I hope that answers your question. Thank you. That was a very, very good question, though. Thank you. Appreciate it. Murillo. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Danganronpa music, so true. Anime models have 3D line art sometimes, I've noticed, after decompiling Gmod stuff. Yeah, I am probably not going to do line art in my anime style models because that's just not my preference. I like to have, while I do have lines in my turnaround drawings, I like to have all the line detail on like the interior details of my textures in 3D and just have things be shaded in a kind of a cel-shaded inspired manner. I'm not a huge fan of outlines in 3D personally, just because they're so finicky. Best way to make a turnaround drawing? That is another great question mark. To keep things brief, I have recommended this to a lot of people. Right here. If you want to make turnaround drawings, watch this tutorial. It's extremely helpful. It doesn't specifically talk about 3D modeling or anything like that, but it's just like a really great resource if you want to learn how to make your own character model turnarounds, or if you really like my teaching style and you want to learn how to make character turnarounds that way. I do cover how to make your own turnaround drawings in my Create Animated Low Poly Characters, even if you've never opened Blender course. And again, this is the best time to buy because the price is going to increase at the end of the month here on the 31st. So if you're interested in this, this is linked in the description below. It's a really good resource for people who are interested in learning how to make their own textures, make their own characters, and it covers things like character design, making your own turnarounds, and a lot of stuff like that, and a lot more depth. And we have a Discord server just for the people who buy this course where people ask really great specific questions like that. So if you want to learn it from me, you can get it through there. Otherwise, that video is really good. This video is awesome. Very helpful. I hope that answers your question, though, Mark. Just join, stream will stay on the channel. Yes, it will. This stream will be on the channel after we are not live anymore. So if you want to reference anything we talk about today, you can view it after the fact. I believe Crashune said the F word on stream. Crashune says slurs live, real. Did they just add a cube? No. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not a cube. This is a box. Wait. Now it's a box. That's not a cube. Crashune, my favorite Christian streamer. That's what everyone comes here for, I think. Christian values in these streams. I did grow up on VeggieTales, so I got those locked in. I was spawn camped with Christian values. I learned Blender in under a month through your tutorials. Awesome, Hex. Glad to hear it. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat before we start here. Oh, I'm glad they're helpful, Brayden. Brayden the man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sly Cooper, I think, has pants. That's true. I believe he does have pants. Maybe. Actually, does he? Does Sly Cooper have pants? I don't remember. He might not. No, he doesn't. Oh my god. Bro has no pants. He's got a t-shirt, but he's got no pants. That's crazy. I think Carmelita Fox has pants, though. Or shorts, at the very least. How am I making my avatar jump like that? I am using this program called Vtuber Mini. Oh, that's my desktop wallpaper. That's it. Just reacts to my voice. It's very simple, like 2D VTuber application, but it's nice and free. YouTube autoplayed this stream. I did not expect to see Teto today. Hell yeah, we love girl failure Teto. She's the best. Is this model you're making higher poly than your other ones? Yes, XPG. This is going to be much higher poly because I know we've talked about this a bit previously, but I am currently in the process of planning out a character modeling tutorial series in the style of my low poly character modeling tutorial series, except we're going to be making anime style characters. So it's going to be a little bit more intermediate, but I'm really excited about it. And I still think that I strongly believe that if you've gone through the low poly character modeling tutorial series, you'll be ready for this one. You'll definitely be ready for this one. But But before I make that tutorial series, I want to make some actual characters in this style, for sure. All right, so let's actually get 3D modeling. How far into the stream are we? Like 40 minutes. So let's start with something simple like her legs. And again, this is gonna be a learning experience for me, because I have not done this too much yet. I think we'll start with like 14 vertices. I'm gonna start her leg with a cylinder here, and I don't want any cap fill type whatsoever. That's fine. Then we press tab to go into edit mode, because we want to make our changes in edit mode, not object mode, so that the mirror modifier will work properly. Because I'm going to change my scaling, transform pivot point to the bounding box center. Something that's really important that I wish I covered in my low poly modeling series that so many of you had issues with, understandably so, is that if I just move this wherever, like this in object mode, and then I try to, let's go back to the properties editor and apply a mirror modifier here. Not normal edit. Now if I mirror this, it's gonna be all messed up because my transforms are messed up here. Like my location, rotation, even my scale if I wanted it to, they're not correct. And it's not gonna mirror necessarily how you'd expect because of that. And to fix that, all you need to do is press Control plus A, then apply all transforms. Now that mirrors onto the opposite side as expected. This is one of the most common issues I've seen people in my community have. So if you run into mirroring not working as intended, that is why. I'm so sorry if you ran into that problem during the tutorial. It was definitely making that tutorial was definitely a learning experience. So now that I have this cylinder just in place here, just move it all the way down, scale it, just to kind of roughly match the outline here. I'll put one loop cut in the center here by pressing Control plus R. Scooch this back. And I'm just really excited about making this animated style character modeling series because I tried to watch so many like anime modeling tutorial series on YouTube back in the day for Blender, and they all like were just not super helpful for me. I don't know why, just like they're just hard. They're just really, really hard. This is a really hard thing to do, and it's even harder to teach. So I don't blame people at all, but it's just so hard to learn this stuff and like teach it. Let's see here. We're just kind of trying to match the silhouette of our 3D model with the silhouette of our turnaround drawing. And I'm just constantly pressing Control plus R to make new loop cuts. For our knee here, we'll probably want to do different topology than we have right now, because we want all the bend points on our 3D model to deform nicely, more or less. And what's nice about the tutorials I make is I never talk about like paid add-ons as well. So it's just gonna be nice. I'm really, really excited about that. Making that series. I think people are gonna really vibe with it. Because it is one of the most requested things I see in the community is how to make, like, okay, this is how you make low poly stuff. That's fun. But how do I make like high poly stuff or like anime style characters? This is gonna be like, it's gonna be like medium poly. I don't know if I'm gonna call this a high poly series because it's kind of not. It's gonna be a manageable amount of polygons. And we're gonna be poly modeling like everything. No sculpt mode, nothing. And I think that'll just be easier for people anyway. All right. So, probably add one more loop cut here. Front view. Again, we're just matching our silhouettes here with the turnaround drawing we made and our 3D model, and we're just thinking of this in chunks. So I'm only worried about this leg right here for now. This, I'll add another loop cut. I do want this to be a little accurate here. But I'm not too worried about getting this like 100% though. It's slightly off, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. All right. And look at that, that's a leg. That is by definition a leg. Sweet. And even if we shade it smooth, wow, it's a leg. But yeah, so again, we want to think of this in chunks, and we have to think about, not worry about, but we want to keep in mind, like, can this mirror to the other side? Because instead of needing to do this twice, I can just go to add modifier, search, mirror, and again, because our transforms are all set to 0, 0, and 1 right here, it's going to mirror to the other side perfectly, and I can press apply all transforms if it didn't. For example, if I, had it like this, then I applied my mirror modifier and it was like all offset, I could just press Control A, apply all transforms, and it will mirror as intended, which is really nice. So now, it's looking pretty good. I'm wondering if I should keep the foot part of the model attached to the leg part of the model. I probably should. It seems like a hassle not to, though the shoes will definitely be like a separate model for sure. Schrodinger's pants. True. So true. Question: for the high poly Teto model, do you plan on modeling eyelids, the inside of the mouth, teeth, tongue, etc.? It's a great question, Umbrella. So eyelids, I'm still undecided. I kind of want to, so probably. I don't even know if we're gonna do that in tutorial, but that just sounds like fun, so I might do that. As for the inside of the mouth, teeth, and tongue, I'm actually not sure about that, because that would be a lot of work, and like that probably wouldn't be super worth it, especially for like my first model. I'm gonna say probably not for the inside of the mouth unless I like really need to, because you can cheese that. Dang, if only I still had it open. Let me show you all. You can totally cheese having like an anime style mouth by doing something like this. This is a really fun trick. Again, ignore the topology here. This is kind of horrifying topology. Oh my god. So the way they do it in Hyperdimension Neptunia that I really like is they literally just select all this topology here, they duplicate it, they move it slightly forward, then they apply transparent texture with like an anime style mouth, and that's what this is right here. So if I turn this off, you'll literally see this is just duplicated topology from the face. It looks a little different, but ignore that. This is literally just part of the face topology that they duplicated and then applied a transparent texture with an anime style mouth on it. So this is probably what I'm gonna do for my first model, because this is way, way easier than like modeling the inside of a mouth, which it would look good, and a lot of anime style models do that, and that's great. However, I like this look. It's fun, and it's just it's a little more beginner friendly because I'm just learning a lot of this stuff still. Same with this. Even this is just like a duplicated version. Like they literally just, again, select these faces, Shift D to duplicate them, move them slightly forward, then apply a transparent texture with this like anime style sweat blob on it, which is great. Really, really cool. I really love how these models are textured. So, and they're even doing that, again, fun fact, It's exactly what they're doing right here for this eyebrow. Though the actually topology looks, is it different? It's not that different. Again, they're just selecting parts of the face here. This, Shift D to duplicate, move them forward, applying a transparent image texture on them. This time, this is an actual eyebrow, which is really cool. However, that seems extremely wasteful. I don't know why in the world you would ever do that and not just like 3D model eyebrow topology, because when you zoom in here, it looks so rough. That's the only part of this where it's like, that's actually kind of baffling. I would never do that. just model the eyebrow, and either control your eyebrow with shape keys or just rig it with a bone. Either would be fine. I would not do this. It makes a lot more sense for like a mouth, because the mouth is actually like changing shape, whereas an eyebrow doesn't change nearly as much shape and doesn't have nearly as much detail. So that just seems a little silly. So that's to answer your question though, Umbrella, probably not. Probably not the inside of a mouth. That would be a lot of work. But we'll use a flat texture for the face. I will definitely use a flat texture for some of the face. But I might try to keep the eyes actually 3D, because I've done that with my low poly stuff even. For having like an eye cavity and stuff like that. So hope that helps answer your question though, Umbrella. Appreciate the hard work you put into these. They've been helping me a lot since I started last week. Thank you, XBGP. I really appreciate that. It's a higher poly series, enough polygons for VR chat. So true, Octopus, so true. God, there's some... I love you VR chat creators so much, but like if you Google VR chat like anime style model, unless it's from Booth, man, that topology is scary. That is like my #1 goal with this series going forward. If I'm going to be teaching people how to make anime style models, I want to make sure I'm not teaching them how to make a VR chat anime style model topology. That's the incredibly low bar I've set for myself. Let's keep it under 200,000. Let's keep it under 200,000. 200,000 challenge. Hi, this is Crash Sune, and welcome to my modest amount of polygons modeling course. Hi, this is Crash Sune Animations. Welcome to my polygonal modeling series. PS2 style models? Yeah, kind of. Though, the model we were just looking at is actually from a PS3 era game. Fun fact. It's not very efficient the way they do things, though. I would not recommend what they do for like texture mapping. Thanks for the vids. Thank you. Thank you, Detachable Pigtails. Very welcome. That's way easier than modeling the whole mouth and the eyes. Yeah. A lot of games do that technique and it looks good enough to convey emotions. Yeah, it's just really expressive and fast. I can see why a lot of games do something like that. Was the purple-haired girl Neptune from Hyperdimension Neptunia? Yep. This is a model of swimsuit Neptune from Hyperdimension Neptunia. Oh, wait. While we're all here, I have to show you all something I'm so excited about. So, if you've watched my videos before, you're going to know that one of my absolute favorite resources on the internet is called the Models Resource. It's actually where I got this model from, fun fact. I downloaded it from the Models Resource, I believe. And what's so exciting about this website is the Models resource.com. What's so exciting about this website is that it got updated recently for the first time in a really long time, and it's awesome. First of all, you're already seeing one part of the update. They have a night mode now, which is really, really cool. So this is the day mode. I think this is the default, but now they have this night mode that looks really sexy in my opinion. I love that. They also have this width option. So this is the default width, which is fine. But like, for example, I have a 4K monitor. I want to use all that screen real estate. So this new mode is awesome. They also have a ton of different tags now. So if you click on anything, you can, like, it'll show like the game, as well as the category, so like for customs and stuff like that. So that's all really cool, right? But by far the most exciting thing that I'm so giddy about is that you're gonna see this little icon next to everything in the models resource now, and like this little yellow icon. And what that means is so exciting. So if I click on this link model, there's gonna be a preview and browser button now. And look at this! You can actually preview the 3D models, exactly what they look like, get a full 360 rotation of them, which you were not able to do before. You had to download the models previously, you had to download it to your computer, you had to unzip a file, you had to import that file into your software of choice, you had to apply the textures properly, go do a proper preview mode to see how it looks accurately. You don't have to do any of that anymore. For like 90% of the models on the website, you can just click on it, preview in browser, and you get a full 3D preview of exactly what it looks like. And you can click right here to download it. I love this website. It's totally free too. What an awesome resource. So definitely check that out today. If you're interested, like this, they're not paying me. I just absolutely love this website. It's just such an awesome website. Whoa! They got Creo Optimus Prime from Roblox. That's crazy. But yeah, definitely go check out that website. It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm so happy they updated it like that. That's actually amazing. Hi, this is Evil Crash Today. Welcome to my max poly modeling tutorial. You need at least 266 gigabytes of RAM and an RTX 980. That'd be badass. Some scary stuff on Booth too. That is true. That is true, Dakota. A lot of people don't do retopology for some reason. Yeah, that's what they did in the Garden of Banban. Does everyone in the chat know about the Garden of Banban button topology? I need to show you all this. Everyone who doesn't know about this needs to learn about it. It's so funny. So, yeah, here's some pictures of it. First of all, if you don't know what the Garden of Banban is, which I don't blame you if you're like under the age of, or over the age of 18, I should say, this is what the Garden of Banban is. And all the character models and models they make for this game, or like most of them, are like literally they sculpt them in Blender and then just export them directly. So that leads to some really crazy topology like this, where it's like super dense. And there's a button in this game where it's like, it looks like it's textured. This looks like it's textured black, but no, that is each individual like dot right there is a polygon, which is like, for this button in particular, that is actually crazy. Not to be mean to this person, I'm sure they're probably younger or like just learning 3D, but my goodness. If there's one takeaway you have from this live stream today, it's just model a cylinder. Just model export a cylinder. I've seen merch of them at Walmart. Yeah, they have like Jumbo Josh at Walmart. It's awesome. It's crazy. All right, let's finish modeling this. Ooh, fitting music. So I'm gonna grab these polygons, extrude, make sure this lines up with our reference nicely. And one of the really nice pieces of advice we got on my Discord server recently, because I asked them, like, what is the best Blender advice you have for beginners? And one of the best pieces of advice I got was just like something along the lines of, don't worry about doing things like the right way, just do them a way, and finish projects. And that's just, oh, it's so helpful. Like, am I doing this the right way right now? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm learning. did the creator of Garden of Banban do things the right way when he exported those models with like hundreds of thousands of vertices? No. But it's okay. They're learning. It's a little different in that case though, because that is a paid product, but hey, if they learn from it, you know what? Not a big deal. We shouldn't harp on people that much. It's fun to poke at them a little bit and be like, oh, that's so silly, but like, let's not be mean about it. It's just for fun. All right, so this is looking like a foot, as I hope it would, because it is a foot, or it's supposed to be. So, all right. So, it's gonna be a little scuffed. We might just call. I want this to be kind of basic because you're not gonna look at this part of the foot too much. If it's like kind of basic, that's totally fine. But I do want it to kind of match the silhouette we have right here. Again, this is just a base first pass. It's not gonna be super great, and that's fine. I'll probably finish up this stream and be like, oh my god, what was I thinking? That's what happens all the time. But it's fun. Gosh dang it. Alright. That's looking pretty alright. Again, almost certainly going to change the topology in the actual knees here so that I can bend a lot more properly. But for a first pass, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. Check up. This is quadruple A game dev, so true, Ico. Good. Oh yeah, the Yandere Simulator toothbrush type situation? Yeah. I love the Yandere Simulator. I don't know if y'all have seen the Yandere Simulator toothbrush topology. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. It had 5,000 polygons on this single toothbrush asset. And to give you a context for how absolutely insane that is for like a game asset, especially one like Yandere Simulator, just as a reminder, this has 5,000 polygons. This single toothbrush has 5,000 polygons, whereas this model that won our last 1024 modeling challenge, this has 1/5 of the polygons as this toothbrush. Or at least half. At least half. I don't know. They're being vague with polygons. I don't know if that's like triangles, because we're referring to triangles here. But the fact that you have something like this, looking like this, compared to, like, that's just kind of interesting. The Yandere Simulator toothbrush is infamous for a reason. All right, let's model some shorts though. I'm gonna start by just putting a loop cut in the center here and deleting half because I don't want to model this twice. Then I will add a mirror modifier. All right. So let's just get the basic shape of these shorts in. This is a really fun stream. It's relaxing. It's a lot more nervous when I'm like drawing a turnaround, honestly, but if I'm just 3D modeling, I love 3D modeling, it's so relaxing. Especially when you don't worry about the right way to do things, which is very easy to do. This isn't the right way, but it is a way. Alright, so now, this isn't the world's best topology, but I'm just gonna put a loop cut here, and then extrude from here. Well, that doesn't seem quite right. That is not where I want it to be. Oh yeah, because I want it here. Silly me. Alright. Gonna grab this bottom face. These are so boxy. I love that. $1 billion idea Yandere simulator love chan mod with ass topology. Yes! We should just get the low poly love chan model and like subdivide it 1 billion times. Just like so much. I get scared whenever Kreshna gets excited because what if he shows us the Fortnite animation once again? What? You didn't like my Fortnite animation, Umbrella? Why didn't you like it? I love Embrake. That's a reference for people who saw that last stream. Fans of Fortnite Jonesy Empreg gotta catch that one. Hello, my teacher in YouTube. How are you? I'm good, Kobayashi from Dragon Maid. Thank you. Sure was an experience, TM. A great experience. I'm sure you mean by that. Well, this is so boxy and basic, but honestly, like, maybe that's good enough for the time being. I might just leave it like that for now. Of course, there's things I can, there's a lot of things I can do. I could bevel it, not like that, but like, ooh, that looks bad. I actually have not used the bevel modifier too much, in all honesty. Even though it's extremely, extremely useful, I do too much low poly. Yeah, definitely not that. But that might just be good enough for now, honestly. Because again, this is a first pass. It's not gonna look great, but it will be good enough for now. Let me take a sip of my coffee and catch up on the chat. Oh, it's so good. What sucks is that I can't drink caffeinated coffee anymore, or caffeinated anything anymore, because I'll just, I don't know, I have anxiety, and it would just like flare up so bad. I'll become a jittery disaster. It's really unfortunate. I just can't have caffeine anymore at all. I used to have like a cup of coffee every morning, or like 2 black tea packets, and it just absolutely destroyed me. Like I just can't have caffeine anymore at all. Well, I can, it's just like, I'll literally get like nauseous and shaky and anxious, which is not what you want when you drink caffeine. Actually, now that I think about it, would you like to make a concept of a skin for Fortnite? That'd be really fun, actually, Umbrella. That would be super fun. This person's awesome. I wish I'm gonna find their name right now. Because they're so cool. They're so, so cool. Unbelievably talented. Let's see. I will find them. Ah, Twitter, don't do this to me. So lame. Oh my god. It's just completely removing older DMs right now. Dang it. Hold on, I'm gonna find this person because their stuff is so cool. They deserve a huge, huge shout out. They're so awesome. They are a, okay, but I'm not gonna beat around the bush. They are a 2D concept artist who works on Fortnite. And they mentioned they watched my videos, and their stuff is awesome. Their stuff is so good. They made like some of my absolute favorite Fortnite skins of all time. Their stuff is so cool. Damn. I might not be able to find it in time. Wait, I could Google. Let's see. Here they are. Okay, I found them. Okay, sweet. Here, this person right here, Bode, they are so good. They have made some of my absolute favorite Fortnite skins of all time, like this one right here, Raven Team Leader. This is like my default skin, as I'm sure other people in the chat would agree. Their stuff is so good, and they mentioned they watched my videos, which like blew my mind. It's like, what? You're so talented, though. I love this stuff. So making one of these, that would be super fun. That'd be really fun. Though, it'd be really hard. I'd have to, like, level up my 2D skills. Because that stuff is not easy. Hey, I did your tutorials and I have a question. I checked out other tutorials for many methods and a lot of them make the body by extracting, and it's not a separated object like yours. Which is best? Neither is best, is the boring answer. And it depends is the other boring answer. For low poly stuff, absolutely. Just keep things separated. I don't think for most cases, you don't really need to do that. You can just have them separated and like chunk them together. That's fine. For higher poly stuff, if you have like a character's arm attached to their body, yeah, that's not gonna be the same process. It's gonna be very different. But it's fine. Either works. It just depends on what you're trying to do and your poly count and how your model needs to deform. Basically, I hope that helps. That helps answer your question. Relatable, I almost had a panic attack from a regular email error after an espresso. Yeah. Caffeine just gets me so anxious. Sucks. I love caffeine so much. I just can't do it. What's your favorite food/drink crash? That is a good question, Ryder. Do y'all know what Sprecker's root beer is? That's my favorite drink. I've told so many people this week. I don't know why. Check this out. Spretcher's root beer. This is my favorite drink. This is awesome. At least soda. That's my favorite, like, soda or soft drink. My favorites, like, drink that isn't terrible for you would probably be something simple like peppermint tea. I have that, like, almost every morning. And now I just drink decaf coffee because I like the taste of coffee personally. But as for favorite food, again, boring answer, but pizza, probably. It's a classic. Can't be pizza. Pizza or like chicken. I eat chicken on like as often as I possibly can. I love chicken. Doesn't matter if it's chicken nuggets, chicken sandwich, chicken sub. Oh, it's so good. Ooh. These Crocs looking a little weird. And this topology is going to be a little odd for a bit here, so bear with me. Modeling shoes is always such a pain in the butt. It's so hard. I think I literally need to like just delete all this and do something completely different when they come to like this point right here. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do at all. Oh, it's them. I remember they were so sad when people called Raven Team Leader the Gunner skin. Yeah, that's messed up. Don't be weird, people. It's a cool skin. I want to make a 3D VTuber and I'm really confused because some people separate it and some people just don't. Ah, got it. Yeah, again, if you want to make a 3D VTuber sim, if it's high poly, you can absolutely keep your models together. That is fine. But you can also keep them separate. Just try whatever works, honestly. I think experimentation is the best way to learn that kind of stuff. Hello, Hot Doggo. Hot Doggo. Welcome, welcome. Hi, how are you? I am good. I'm good. It's Leox. Leox. I'm gonna call you Leo. Sorry. I am well. Thank you for asking. It's a nice chill stream today. Oh my god. These things are so tricky. Perhaps another loop cut would make my life easier, maybe. Got any Croc fans in the chat? Any Croc enjoyers? Oh wait, Dakota's in the chat. I know we have at least one Croc enjoyer. There's one. I don't mind Crocs. Some people just like absolutely hate them and it's like, they're fine. I don't think they're as ugly as some people say, but they're also not like my favorite thing in the world necessarily. Pizza's a good option, not gonna lie. It's good. Gotta add sports mode Crocs. I'm on Blender making my own 3D model. Nice. Will I re-upload the direct? This will be, if you're asking about the stream, this will be a VOD available afterwards. The stream will be available afterwards on this very YouTube link, so you can add this to your favorites or whatever you'd like. Watch later. You can watch this after the fact, the entire thing. Because I like people being able to reference this stuff if they would like to. Crocs, the ultimate footwear. So true, cameraman. Thoughts on Crocs with socks? Isn't this technically... Is Birdbrain Teto wearing Crocs with socks? These could be thigh-high socks. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, is she wearing thigh-high socks? Or are these just pants? But then they'd be striped pants, and that's kind of weird. These have to be, like, thigh-high socks, right? Because that would, if they're thigh-high socks, that's Crocs with socks. And she's kind of pulling them off here, right? Crocs serve their purpose. My family uses them in indoor slippers. Yeah, yeah. What song is this? This is Hope vs. Despair from the Danganronpa OST. I'm trying to learn Blender, but my computer can't handle it at all. What specs do you have? I have a very high-end PC because this is like my full-time job, but I would not recommend that to people. My PC is not like what I would recommend anyone starting to learn Blender have. Honestly, you don't need anything super fancy to run Blender. Like, just get, if you're interested in a laptop, you can get like a mid-range, I don't know, gaming or like creativity, productivity laptop, and it'll probably be absolutely fine, honestly. Even my Steam Deck runs Blender, so any like mid-range modern PC would be like absolutely fine, I'd have to imagine, because you don't need anything fancy for what I do. You really, really don't. The only thing having a high-end PC is nice for what I do is when I'm like rendering out animations and editing projects in Premiere and stuff like that. That's when it's like actually super helpful. All right, so for here, I'm gonna go to edit mode and spawn in a cylinder. Scale that, yeah, scale that puppy down. Wait, no. I spawn in a cylinder. God, this is so annoying. Triangle fan, end gone, or cap fill type rather. Then I'm just gonna literally delete half of. Yeah, I'll delete half. We'll leave that for now. Then I'll select this and scale it way down. And I want this for the Crocs. Here we go. Sweet. I believe this is on both sides, yeah. This is super fucking hecking thick, though. So I will... Wow, that does not line up at all in my reference. Oh well. We'll go with the side view because I believe that is more accurate. Alright. So now... I'm literally just gonna like duplicate this face. Put it like here-ish. Then I'm gonna drink some coffee and catch up on chat. Striped leggings, yeah. They're probably just striped leggings. I doubt that they're probably not socks. I kind of like this fit though, not gonna lie. I would absolutely wear this. Well, maybe not the Crocs. I don't know if I'm that brave. For cosplay though, absolutely. Though then you'd have to deal with like Teto hair, Teto cosplay hair, which is not easy. That is no easy feat. I'm gonna put a loop cut halfway through this. That's looking pretty alright. Then we just want to wrap this around our foot, right? 3D modeling streams are actually very relaxing. I should do these more often. I'll add another loop cut here so this doesn't clip quite so much. Turnaround drawing is getting in the way of the orthographic view. I should probably hide that. Let's do that. For now. I could also lower the opacity on it. Sweet. Looking pretty alright. Now, for this bottom part, I feel like I could just do the topology differently in the front of this shoe in general. Like, let's just delete this top part. So I want it to be like, this is one chunk, this bottom part, and like this part, but have like this front a little different, because this is supposed to be outset a little bit, right, on Crocs, I believe. A little bit more rounded. Not like this. Some of this is just like, you gotta use common sense. If only I had a Croc in front of me. Something like that makes a little bit more sense to me. Then I just select all these and extrude inward, right? Yeah. Now I need my turnaround drawing back. Damn, this is a chonker. A non-accurate turnaround drawing, unfortunately, but Crocs are hard to draw. All right. Let's just do this. Let's do something like that. And just change this. Well, I'm kind of just putting it how it was. Oh, well. All right. So now that I have this, in theory, I can just edge select all these by pressing Shift plus Alt. Just extrude upward. Kind of like that, but not nearly as much. I think there's like kind of a lip there, but just barely. Alright. Extrude from this. Just loop. Round it out. And I can even go into sculpt mode to smooth things out if I would like to. Which I might do. It's useful sometimes. Yeah, now we need this to actually make sense of the front view. Scale this inward a little bit. Actually a bit too high, I think. Yeah, these are really hard. Shoes are actually extremely hard to 3D model. So I might have a bit of trouble doing this live on stream, but we'll see. This feels a little chunky, but I kind of like how chunky that is. Kind of like it. Kind of F with it. Yeah, this is kind of fun. Kind of like this shape language. Though it's maybe not super accurate to my turnaround drawing. That's going to happen a lot when you're doing this stuff. You're going to realize your turnaround drawing actually made no sense the whole time. But if you can make it look good in 3D, that's good enough. That's fine. Let's go to sculpt mode. I'm going to hold shift, just use the smooth brush. Just to see if that looks a little nicer. Looks rounder. I don't know about nicer. Now I have to determine, do I want to change the topology on my feet so it stops clipping, or do I want to change the topology on my, turn off proportional editings. Do I want to change the topology on my shoe? I do kind of want this to be big and chunky, so I think I will just commit to having this be pretty big. That's fine with me. It's kind of looking like a Croc. Look at that. That's fun. All right. I hate modeling hair. Viana, if you have not seen this already, I have actually made a tutorial on modeling hair that I just made like a week or two ago. And I'm very, very proud of it. I think it's my favorite tutorial yet. So if you're struggling with hair and you've not watched this yet, definitely check it out. If you have watched it and you're still struggling with the hair, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. It is not easy. It is still like the hardest thing to model. All right, take care, Umbrella. See ya. Thanks for stopping by. For joining the stream. Yeah, modeling the head is very, very difficult. Fiona, absolutely. One time I really suffered when I had to model a Vtuber with high heels. Oh yeah. You can just put anything on pizza. It's a food vessel. That's true. I'm gonna say the most controversial thing I've said on my channel yet, so be warned, everyone. I really like pineapple on pizza. It's so good. It's so fire. Hawaiian pizza. Oh my god, so yummy. It's so good. I don't like to talk about politics on my channel too much, but that's as political as I'll get. It's so good. You made a tutorial for hair pause. Yep, I did. I really like it. I really like how it turned out, so I do hope it's helpful, Deanna. I feel like I keep seeing that. That's happened like 2 or 3 times in my server. People will be like, oh man, modeling hair show is hard. Like in my own Discord server, people are like, oh yeah, they made a video about that. People are like, oh yeah, they did do that. Which I think is kind of funny. Let's just get this close-ish. Yeah, I hope this stream is a little inspiring. Hope it makes you want to go out there and make something. You learn something useful, everybody. I really enjoy these. So if you want to see more, by all means, let me know either in the comment section or the chat. I love hearing feedback like that. It's super useful. Should probably have modeled this mirrored. Oh well. Yeah, this is making my life annoying. Oh well. I choose to suffer. Alright, so now let's literally like duplicate. This might mess up the faces, but whatever, I can clean it up later. That is not a problem. Something like this. Let's mirror this to the other side just for fun. Isolate. Actually turn that off immediately. LOL. LOL. It's not distracting me. Starting to look vaguely like Crocs, folks. Yeah, I would definitely love to do more streams like this in the future, so let me know if you're interested, because I'm having a ton of fun. How many triangles are in this right now? Non-statistics. 316, that's fine. I'm okay with that number. I'm gonna try to keep things as quads as much as possible as well. That's weird, I don't like that. This. I just added an edge loop there and then kind of mash these together. I think that's mostly quads, that's good. Crocs do not end this squared though. Let's make this a little more round maybe. That just added so much topology, I'm not gonna do that. It's that way. That is definitely not the greatest way to do that. But look at this! It's looking pretty alright. I mess with this. Obviously, we kind of want to fix that up a bit, but hey. We have a base pass of first pass of some Crocs here. Get out of here, reference. Fun. Now, either I might just want to fill this in. I could actually do that right now. Let's see what it looks like. Oh god, I love 3D modeling. It's so fun. I'm so used to low poly modeling, so now being able to 3D model like this is like, oh, it's so satisfying. That doesn't look great. Maybe. Again, don't think this is super accurate to an actual Croc, but let's take all these and press E to extrude, scale them just on the Z-axis, or X-axis, I believe. Then Move them down a little bit. Oh, that looks wrong. Forward. Then move them down a little bit. Press E to extrude once more, and then move them straight down like this. I'm gonna constantly turn on X-ray so I can see what the heck I'm doing. And then I can press F to bridge these all together. And you get a beautiful N-gon. Let's not do that. Again, this is just the first pass, so I'm just gonna be like, whatever. I'll just bridge them like this. Just so we're not like seeing through our model. I might need to recalculate normals, which is fine, so I can just do that by pressing Ctrl plus N. No, I can't. It's Shift N to recalculate normals. And the reason I did that, let me undo here. If I turn on face orientation, you can see that these are outside faces because I scaled these inverted. So to fix that, I can select all my faces, press Shift plus N, and I'll automatically fix those normals, which is really nice. And that might be good enough. So let's see what that looks like with the actual shoe. Or foot, rather. Again, that is really sharp. I can add more topology. There's a lot I could do there. In fact, let me try this. That feels kind of sexy. I mess with that. That's pretty cool. Let's scale that in a little bit. Yeah, now we're talking. Goodness, this is so fun. Alright. This forward. This around. There we go. Sweet. Then I'm just gonna click on my foot here. Get this all the way down so we don't see this. This is like super chunky and low poly. Doesn't even matter. Really gonna see it too much. Now you might be wondering, there's like holes on the Crocs right here. How are you gonna do that in 3D? Isn't that really difficult? It is, and I'm not. I'm probably just gonna do that on a texture, honestly, just to save myself a lot of headaches. Let's try to make this a little bit more symmetrical though. Not perfectly, but that's a shoe. Looks like a shoe to me. In fact, I would probably want to change this though. So it's like, just like these faces actually. Just move them in. We're supposed to see this, right? So that just makes sense to me. But this looks a little weird. So I'll shape that a bit. I'm just trying to orbit around my model as much as I can. I'm gonna make this work. Oh yeah, it automatically helped me out for low poly hair. Nice. Hawaiian pizza, let's go. Heck yeah. Take care, Jester, Black Mage. I'm probably too late on that. I'm so sorry, but I hope we have a good one. Saw your low poly Hatsune Miku by Violet that you shared on Discord. That was so cool. Are there any other low poly 3D artists you recommend checking out for inspiration? That is a fantastic question, Nick Ba. So the person you're talking about, I believe, is this artist right here. They have a really good website, so that's what I'm trying to find. Here's their website. This is Violet stuff. I've chatted with them a few times. They're amazing. They're so talented. This stuff is incredible. I absolutely adore this art style. They don't actually use Blender. They use Blockbench for all their stuff, I believe. But they have an incredible art style. You could do this in Blender. It's just it would be a different process for sure. Very different. But her stuff is beautiful. It's amazing. This is definitely a low poly artist I'd highly recommend. Their website is vilexiv.com. Amazing artist. Look how good this stuff looks. It's incredible. But as for other low poly artists I would recommend, I really like Kevin's stuff. Let's see if I can find it. They have a username I'm probably not remembering at the top of my head, but I really like it, so I'm gonna try to find it. No, not not Kevin from the Minions. I believe they made a Hatsune Miku model. Yeah. Oh, I was spelling their name wrong. That's why. Dang it. Yeah, this is another artist I really like. Let me see if I can find their Twitter. Here it is. All right. This is another low poly artist I highly recommend you check out. Kevin, aka Keyframe Chef. Awesome stuff. Look how good this looks. This isn't super low poly. This is a little bit more medium poly, but they do. Let me show you some of their. I'm gonna like and retweet that. That's so good. I haven't even seen that one before. It's so cute. I love that. This isn't super low poly, but it's adorable. I guess most of that stuff would kind of land in that category, but it's still very low poly. Like, oh my god, so good. I absolutely love Kevin's stuff. Very nice stuff, and they do use Blender for all their stuff. So that is the two low poly mod artists I would recommend at the top of my head are Violet and Kevin. Their stuff is fantastic. It's super good. Thank you for that question. That's a great question. You helped me create my first 3D model. I still find it really tough even now, but the way you recommended you to my friends and tutorials are extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Noah. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, 3D modeling is not easy, especially when you're just starting out. Oh my goodness. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. I mean, for the holes, you can literally just make the Croc's texture transparent so we can see the skin/socks underneath. That is a great idea, actually. That's a really fun idea. I will consider that. I will definitely consider that. Because I was literally just going to have like textured holes that are like just shaded differently, because most people aren't going to be zooming in on them quite like we are here. But that's a great idea. Could absolutely do that. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm just gonna move this so it looks a little less awkward, hopefully, like kind of clipping into itself. But I don't want to worry about this too much, the topology too much, because my opinion on it is going to change dramatically once we actually have textures on it. Certain things will be totally fine, and other things will definitely need to be changed. So I don't worry about topology too much at this stage. I just don't want to. Just want to keep things nice and chunky and simplified and good enough for now. Yo, you do live too? I do occasionally, on rare occasions. Synchro, I do. Violet is peak, absolutely, Mark. They're so good. Well, Crash, I've been trying to make my model, but I've come into a hurdle. How would you go about making an open jacket without sculpting? The tutorials I found haven't helped me much. That's a really good question, Zombie Boy. I have made exactly that, and I hope I can help you. Because my Carmelita Fox model has, if we go to the 3D modeling section, it's not going to show this super well, but she has an open jacket, right? So let me actually open that model right now, and hopefully I can at least give you some references to help you out. Carmelita. Oh, this is the wrong folder. That'll do it. That would be in... Let me just pull this up real quick. There we go. That folder, and go up. Go to Carmelita. There she is. All right, so open up this model here. Zombie boy, and then we turn off X-ray. The way I did her jacket here, this is for very low poly, keep in mind, so if you're not doing low poly, unfortunately this isn't going to be as helpful. But what I did was I had this base chest part right here, and this is literally just like the most basic topology ever, super low poly. And then I just had a bunch of planes. I think I literally started this with a plane, this plane in particular, and I would just extrude from it to create this point, and then kind of just make like a paper thin version of this jacket. And I kind of wanted to match the topology of my jacket as close to the torso underneath it as possible. Another thing you could do if you're modeling a jacket is just select all of these faces and like just shift D duplicate them, then scale them up, right? And you can press P to separate their selection into its own object, right? That's another thing you can do. But for my case here, I just started with a plane and I made like a paper thin version of this jacket, right? There's no thickness whatsoever. Then after I was done making the paper thin version of this and kind of making sure the topology was like roughly similar, like there's an edge loop here, there's an edge loop here, there's an edge loop here, there's an edge loop here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's kind of what I did. It was still paper thin though. So what I did after that point is I went to my modifiers and added a solidify modifier just to add some thickness to it. This is not going to look good at all because of the way this is set up. But if we, for example, add that to just a plane, the mesh plane, that's not a plane, right? If we have a plane here, and then we add a solidify modifier onto it, and then change the thickness, we'll just make it thick. And it's a lot easier to model something paper thin than add thickness to it than trying to keep something consistently thick. So that's kind of how I like to work. But that's how I modeled at least Carmelita Fox's open jacket here. And if you have it like over arms as well. Another thing, like if you don't see the arms under the jacket, just delete that topology. It's going to save your life. It's going to save you so much, like so many headaches and so many annoying little things to deal with. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for the question. That is a great question. I'm back with new knowledge. Welcome back, Fiona. All right. So, we got some Crocs here. They look pretty all right. We got some legs here. They look pretty all right. We got, we have a facsimile of, and what I should really do is actually turn on wireframe. That looks much better. I would highly recommend when you're 3D modeling, just turn on wireframe on your viewport overlays. It makes your life a lot easier. But this is looking pretty all right so far. There's things I want to change here. This topology looks a little odd to me. I might even want to take a flatten brush to this, just so that, and topology matters so much when you're like doing UV unwrapping. Like this would be really annoying to UV unwrap if I just left it as is. But yeah, that's looking pretty all right so far. Okay, thank you. I tried modeling it with a cube like 3 separate times and it never looked right. Yeah. It's important to like start with the right thing when you're 3D modeling, right? Like that's why I wanted to start these legs, for example, with a cylinder and not a plane. However, like we have all these primitives in Blender. The only ones you need to care about are like plane, cube, and cylinder. Like that's it. The rest are like almost useless for our purposes 90% of the time. Even then, I have a friend who's a million times better at 3D modeling than I ever will be. She's incredibly talented, and she told me, oh yeah, I only ever start with a plane and just model it from there. So, like, if that works for you, awesome. Like, what you start with should just be like what makes sense to you, right? Again, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like, we want to make sure that these things are just what works for you. It doesn't matter if it's like the right way to do things necessarily, right? But as for these shorts, definitely want to beat them up a little bit more. Beef them up, not beat them up. At least get some edge loops right here. Here. I got so boosted up from the hair tutorial that I'm going to add some toggles to my 3D model. Awesome. Hello, Michael. Welcome. Hi, Crash. Quick question. Do you recommend the use of the subdivide modifier? Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I might want to do that with this very model because, you know, if we look at this from the side, it's very, very faceted. Even if we shade smooth, you can see that the actual silhouette of our model is extremely faceted. However, go to modifier, add modifier, subdivide. Suddenly, it won't look nearly as faceted, right? That's above my mirror. I don't know if it matters. Look at that. It's like a lot more smooth. And it's kind of, you know, I think this will make it a little bit more obvious what Subdivision is doing. It's kind of not ideal in the sense that it's kind of really smoothing things out. It's like extremely soft, which you can fix by marking these faces as sharp, I believe. I'm trying to remember what it's Control plus E, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm learning on stream here. Control plus E. Mark is sharp. No, I don't think that's the one. Edge crease. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's Control plus B, right? Oh, no, it's not that. That's bevel. What is the hotkey for that again? My bad. Edge crease. So, okay, so Shift plus E. Oh. So, that, okay, what's cool about Shift plus E is that it marks an edge crease, which means that you can not only get the smoothness of a subdivide modifier, but you can keep the sharpness of your original model without adding any more topology, which means you can keep your model quote-unquote low poly or medium poly, but you can also have it be extremely smooth, which is really nice. So, and that looks a little weird because of the way I did it. You probably don't want to mark faces like that, so I'm going to do that. I imagine that's less of an issue if you just mark edges. Let's see, though. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. So you can see we're changing like the silhouette of our model as well by doing this. So we can keep things sharp, but still very smooth because we're using a subdivide modifier. And I could even, for example, use this on the knees here, Shift plus E, and it kind of just lines up our topology a little bit more with how it originally was when it was low poly, but it's still very smooth, very nicely shaded like that. So great question though, Michael. Yes, I am absolutely pro Subdivision. The only time I'm quote unquote anti Subdivision is when you are making a low poly model, because that's usually completely unnecessary. You usually don't have to do that. Making anything low poly in that kind of art style. I hope that answers your question, Michael. Very, very good question. Gosh, these shorts are real basic, huh? And they look very chunky and like almost stupid right now, but if you add textures to this, it would actually look pretty good. Would not be too bad. I could make them a little wider. Carry this in a bit, like that. And we might want to add further edges for certain areas, but that's good enough. Good enough. We do want a top for this, but I probably want just something super basic. I'll probably just do like poke faces. Ooh, that's bad. I'll keep this deleted for now. Because we only see a little bit of the torso, so probably for this model here, I'm not going to model the whole thing. I wouldn't imagine. Her shirts are so square, Lamau. They sure are. Incredibly so. I should really, I think she should probably see the inside of her shorts. Just a little bit, which I could do by extruding. Yeah, I could do this. And just extrude upward. So maybe something like that, but again, incredibly short. Now, okay, now I'm seeing the issue here. We don't want... Shorts are not built like this. They're not like square. They're way more rounded. I'm so low poly pill. I'm low poly maxing. A lot more like this. This isn't the greatest topology, but I'm just getting a base shape in place here. Now they're looking a little bit more like shorts. Again, not the greatest topology, but it's first pass. This is probably way too high poly. But yes, this is just a chill stream, so I'll probably wrap up in just a moment here. However, again, I will remind people, if they are interested in getting the low poly course, it is the best time to buy it because the price increases at the end of this month. And we have regional pricing, which is brand new and is so helpful if you live in countries where the value of your currency is just different, right? And we just hit over 1,000 sales on this, and we have like 41 perfect 5-star ratings, which is awesome. So I think we will call it here. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. This stream is going to be available as a VOD, so you can watch this entire thing back again on YouTube if you want to reference it at all. I'm really excited to do more streams like this, though. This was super, super fun. Let me know if you want to see more of these in the comments below. I really appreciate those. Thank you so much for watching, though, everybody. I hope you learned something useful. Thank you for joining me today. I will definitely try to do this again very soon because this is super, super fun. So again, just a shorter, more casual stream today, but I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will catch you around real soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.